Can we beat Honkai Star Rail using only wind characters? Last episode we triumphed over Fantilli in a fight I thought was going to take a lot longer than it did, and we were met with the unfortunate reality that Star Rail is out for blood. First on our list was Huohuo, who would be essential for sustained and higher difficulty content. I honestly have no problem potentially losing any of their 50/50s if it meant we could secure our healer. The only issue is that time is running out. Okay, so we've got 3 days and 0 wishes to get Huohuo before the banner ends. Might also be good to mention that we're currently on our 50/50 after an early Feijao. My plan is to clear out the new simulated universe and speed through the new events to pull her before time runs out. It also turned out I'd been away for so long, the return bonuses had appeared on the account, which is my bad. In my defense, there had been a bug that locked me out of loading up whenever I'd aim, and I was stuck in this black screen, and I update the game on my phone. But I digress. At this point, any jades I would happily take, and just do better on farming in the future. Future Nick here. Just wanted to clarify, when I say 3 days in the video, I meant specifically that I had 3 days before I left on a trip. There was still a good 15 days on the banner in the video, but I wouldn't be around and able to record until I got back, which was after the banner ended. So, while the time says otherwise in the tens, this was recorded in a 3-day crunch. Okay, back to the video. We were off to a pretty strong start with the new simulated universe. The tutorial, along with the first difficulty, proved relatively easy, and Feijao carried us through any bosses whose typing or mechanics we lacked. Stuff is happening. I'm just letting it happen. The part that I struggled most on was understanding the new systems and, of course, the new bosses, which were... Oh my god, how are you still alive, Daniel? It became especially hard when we reached difficulty 3, and the enemies were much closer to our character's level. I didn't have the most confidence we could clear anything above 2, but so many achievements were locked behind higher difficulties, we had to try. Just sit back. This game is so hard. Maybe. We're fine. A little tricky, but if we get the right blessings, we should be able to clear the boss. No! With one shot! I think I'm 20 levels under him. Oh, wow. What were we worried about? I was beginning to think I'd overestimated higher difficulty. Maybe with the right blessings and strats we could use to our advantage, it wouldn't pose that much of a challenge. But in the time I'd been clearing through new content, I forgot one small thing about it. I've probably said the word sustain a million times, I know, but so far, it hadn't proved much of a problem. In essence, defeating the enemies before they could feed us was kind of working, but that charm would only last so long. See, there's this small issue with content that came out then versus now, which is, as you may know, scaling. It meant the hardest bosses had health bars around this in size when the game came out, versus what's been come to expected. And that meant that the newer the content, the harder it would be to circumvent taking the damage. This would become most apparent in this run's final boss, Nigador. So I want to ult first, and then Daniel ult. And we can do your ult. damn, it's gotta start adding up here, otherwise I'm not too sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on! No. Technically a follow-up. Oh my god, how are you still alive, Daniel? Okay. There goes our night boost. Oh, that's not good. Come on. We got this. Mechanics, what are mechanics? We just swing Phasia at everything. It dies. After a few runs of Divergent Universe, including difficulties 1 to 3 and the weekly reset, we'd gather a good amount of pulls for our first attempt at Huohuo. We also obtained a good amount of branches to use, which would make subsequent runs much easier. And after one last lap for good measure, it was finally time to pull. 44.83. That's not the worst. I don't think I'm gonna get like 300 something today because I have to run. Okay, hold on, one moment. Be gone. Much better. So we're currently sitting at 15 pity, I believe. Yeah. We have no guarantee, and I don't even know if we'll hit 75 by the end of the banner, but I'll do some pulls now. And then tomorrow, or whenever I do the next upload or session, I'll farm a bunch, and then do another couple pulls then. This should be 25. Something good. Little unknown fact, guys. If you rub the unicorn's horn, it gives you a higher chance of luck at the thing you want to get. I like when I can't use. My favorite. Not yet. It's more pulls. Okay. I feel it in my bones, guys. Man. Boo. Quit inviting these people on board, Pom Pom. I don't want Jouet. How many off are we? Ooh, hold on. Alright, I get it. We got E1, S1, last banner. I can't be having that luck again. They really want me to scrape the bottom of the barrel. And so, day 1 proved to have no luck. We had built up to a solid 55 pity, and I had confidence if we could miraculously save 20 more we could get her despite still having to win the 50-50, but now wasn't the time for dawdling. It was the time for desperate measures. The second day had started, and I was straight to farming some universe again. I was focused on completing the index as well as any achievements we could manage that could be done in a few runs. What precedes was a long session of Jada hunting I'll spare you from, well, mostly. While I was farming, I did come across the conundrum of using either post-op conversation or hey, over here is the go-to icon for her build, since both were good options. It just basically boiled down to energy regen versus max HP. The consensus online was that S4 post-op outdoes Hey Over Here in utility, but seeing as we only had one copy anyway, I just used my saved up tokens to get an S3 copy of Hey Over Here. So, thank you r/Huohuo mains. Day 3 was finally here, and I was exhausted. I spent most of the day prior farming endlessly. By the time I was done, my brain was too fried to pull, and I decided to wait until day 3 to do so. So, we did a few artifact runs to power up some of our characters, did some trial runs, and finally gathered just over 20 pulls. It was time. With how little we had left to farm or events to do before her banner ended, this would be the make or break. Barrels were scraped, characters were leveled, anything to get our hands on just the last few jades we needed. Our final tally had amassed to 2,063 plus an additional 10 pulls, which is about 22 wishes roughly. Combined with the 55 pity we'd already built up, we would at least hit soft pity. And as for if we'd actually get a 5-star in those 22 pulls was to be seen. I started off with the standard 10 pull to test the waters. S2 post-op signaled a good omen. And when we did our 65th pull, nothing of note but a light cone we didn't need showed up. 75, and still no signs of Huohuo or a 5-star. I was beginning to worry for our luck when the first pull was a Zweihi Eidolon. That one light cone showed up shortly after, so I wasn't stressed for too long. 76. 77, 78, 79, 80, and nothing. No 5-star, and I was flat out of jades. But we couldn't stop there, so close to hard pity. And so, I scoured the levels for chests, trotters, and after another session spent hunting for jades, 81. Hope was beginning to run dry until a flash of genius hit me. Codes, redemptions. How did I not think of this before? I tried every code I could find online. Livestream codes, promotional codes, anything. And finally, on pull 82. And that's the story of how we miraculously pulled Huohuo with a 3-day time limit and a fistful of jades. While we had no right for things to go so well, and I did celebrate long into the night building for the best of my ability, I just couldn't shake the feeling of a coming tragedy. Our luck had been phenomenal so far, but for how much longer would that be? Something deep down told me karma was bound to catch up, and when it finally did, the fall would be catastrophic. But fearing for what was to come could wait. Yet again, this band of misfits had cheated probability, and by the day our goal seemed more and more feasible. Who would have guessed we'd get this far in the months that followed, when we started this series on a space station with 2 4-stars in a dream? My name is Nicholas, and I want to again thank all of you for joining me on this journey. I can't wait to see where it goes.